coming back.
All right. So Kati, thanks for being here. I think just about the whole world knows the brand of Angry Birds, but can you tell us a little bit more about the company behind it, Rovio?
Sure. I mean, the company was actually established already 2003 under a different name than Rovio. And it was established by three very passionate gamers, students. And they actually did 51 games before they hit the Angry Bird. And of course, after that, many things changed. And they definitely realized quite quickly that they have something pretty big in their hands. The game became successful in a very short period of time. And looking at the characters, the lovable Angry Birds, they also felt that this is probably something that we can exploit beyond the games as well. And then the company moved to different types of entertainment areas, including animation, consumer products, and at the end of the day, even a movie and soon-to-be movies.
Cool. And I think you describe yourselves as a games entertainment company, correct? A gaming company that focuses on entertainment.
That's exactly correct. So we're a games-first entertainment company. And what does this mean is that we focus very much on games. That's our core business. Our revenue in the last 12 months, ending June 30th, 2017, was 266 million euros, and approximately 80% of that came from games. We have another business unit, which is called brand licensing unit, and when I talk about exploiting the brand beyond the games, that's exactly what happens in brand licensing unit.
Great. And so I think many people have played Angry Birds, where you're destroying the buildings, but you've got other games out as well, like, for instance, Battle Bay, which you launched earlier this summer.
Sure. If somebody watched the video clip very carefully, you could see that there was something else than Angry Birds as well. And one of the examples was Battle Bay. It's a game that we launched last spring in May, and it is a very different type of game than the Angry Birds games are, but that's the thing, that you tend to go a little bit beyond the Angry Birds as well.
Great. And so you've got 97% brand recognition across the globe, which is just outstanding. Now it's been made into a movie a few years ago. Talk to me about how you went through the process of taking this really attractive IP that the world knows and turning it into the first major motion picture.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story for sure, because IPs are IPs, and maybe we see that clip again. Well, not now. Anyways, so it's
that was
not
a technical difficulty.
Exactly, yeah. It happens sometimes. IPs are such that it's not always clear that you can build a brand out of an IP. It's a totally different story when you start building a brand. And for Rovio, it was quite soon clear, as I said, that you have something in your hands that you can do much more than just mobile games, if one can say so. What happened then was around already 2011, 2012, when the ideas around the movie came alive. And there were a lot of discussions, of course, how to do the movie and with who. Obviously, we needed a partner. We were a small Finnish company, kind of far away from Hollywood, and the goal for the movie always was that it's going to be a big movie. We're not creating something small. If we do something, it's going to be big. And so we went to Hollywood.
And how have fans reacted to this? Because you have passionate people that like to play the game. Now you've got this major motion picture. How has that helped really expand it into new territories?
Well, I think our fans has become already used to that Rovio comes with surprising things, edgy, funny, mischievous things, and they actually look for those as well and want them. But of course, I'm thinking about creating a movie, full-length feature film out of a mobile game app is something that doesn't happen every day. And of course, I think it's very fair to say that you can be a little bit doubtful, will that really become something. And I think that we showed the whole world that you can actually do a great, successful blockbuster movie out of a mobile gaming app.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there's been other examples of it, but by far you have shown the recipe for success. And I'm curious, you know, over the length of time of a movie, you can really get deep into developing a character. You know, the birds have a personality, they've had a personality, but you've really been able to expound upon that within the movie. How is that translated back into your game?
Well, you're right in the sense that when actually the first Angry Birds game was developed, there was already personalities for the main characters. So Chuck is the yellow bird, is the speedy one, and Bomb is the one who exploits every once in a while. Red, we know he has some issues himself. But definitely animation and movies can deepen the storytelling a lot and build much more around the universe. And the whole movie actually evolved the characters a lot. I mean, they didn't have legs and arms, they didn't speak before the movie, so all that came live with the movie. And of course now, when we're developing games, we're utilizing these characters and the worlds that were created through the movie.
Great. The movie, huge success. How has that impacted your bottom line?
Of course, I mean, when you do something like movie, which is distributed in 88 different countries, the marketing activities and everything around the movie, it brings a huge visibility. And it does boost your other businesses as well. You can see that it gave us a nice uplift for game downloads, as well as, of course, boost our consumer product sales. So overall, it is definitely something that boosts your business, and you can see it in the numbers as well.
Yeah, if 80% of the revenue still, you know, obviously comes from games, and that helps highlight the games. I mean, there's over 700 games launched every single day, so that must give it more of a recognition when people are looking for games within the app stores.
Absolutely. I mean, discoverability is one of those issues that everybody faces today, being a small developer or a bigger developer. And if you have something unique, as we do, Angry Birds, in your hands, that's definitely something that makes you more visible. And people know the brand, they know the quality of the games. It's easier to click something that you know already or you've seen somewhere else. And for us, like that gives us more organic downloads, as well as then the user acquisition is, of course, something that everybody is doing nowadays in the free-to-play world. That's basically the key for the success, or at least one of the keys for the success. So having a brand and getting a better discoverability pushes the user acquisition cost down as well.
Helps with your marketing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You have an interesting point of view on brand versus IP, and there being a significant difference between the two. Can you expand upon that?
Yeah, I mean, IP is something that one can create quite easily while making something new or new character or whatever that is. But then building a brand requires quite a lot. You actually have to invest in building a brand. You have to think about how you build that IP to be actually a brand, and how you maintain the brand, and how you evolve the brand. Because with brands, you have to stay fresh and relevant, and you can only do that with also evolving the brand in a way that it doesn't lose its recognizability or identity. You have to always obviously keep those things in mind.
Right. And you have a different. I mean, you have Angry Birds 2 coming out next year, right? And
you mean the sequel for the movie?
Yes.
2019.
2019.
September 2019.
And you've taken a different approach about how to go to market with this, where you've partnered with Sony. And you're turning over some of the creative rights, I suppose, to a third party. Do you get concerned about how that might impact your brand?
We partnered with Sony in the first movie as well. Sony was our distributor. And we financed and produced the first movie ourselves. So, of course, the creative control was fully in our hands as well. But now with the second movie, as said, it goes along our strategy. I mean, we're games first. Our core business is games. Other things we do in a licensing mode. So we have followed this and licensed the brand, the IP to Sony now. And we are pretty safe because the cooperation with Sony was very pleasant. Everything went very well. And I mean, one of the reasons that we actually partnered with Sony in the first movie was that, of course, I mean, they have the skills and knowledge and expertise, and they are a very credible partner, but also the chemistries between the teams who actually worked several years with the first movie worked very well. So we are very very comfortable with continuing with Sony, and of course, the universe has been built, the characters have been built, the personalities are there. So of course, the risk, if one can say so, to something very different happening is quite small compared to if this was the first movie.
Yep. You talk about teams, and so you have a games business, and now all of a sudden a massive licensing business. How have you organized internally in order to ensure that your teams don't get distracted one versus another, and how do you build that organization?
Well, actually, I mean, what we are building or what we have a very unified Rovio, even though there are two very different business units. But of course, there are certain things that overlap, or let's not say overlap, but it's kind of like cross-functional things. And one of them is definitely the brand. I mean, both business units use the brand in their products. And there needs to be unified understanding how we're going to do things and how we're going to, make the best out of the brand going forward, how we evolve the brand. And we do have a franchise team, which includes members from the both business units, for example, and they look after certain things related to the brand. But other than that, of course, games are focusing very much in games. They have their games core teams creating different development projects. And then, of course, in the brand licensing, they are more focused on selling the brand to credible partners in order to get the products in markets, which then again brings the visibility for the brand. And through animation, movies, we strengthen the storytelling also of the brand.
Cool. So you're located up in Helsinki. You've got a diverse set of teams, responsibilities, job descriptions, if you would. How do you go about building a team that has a diverse perspective? The previous session that we just had up here about needing more women in the tech industry. How do you think about diversity and culture?
Well, I think diversity, first of all, is very important. I mean, we are building products, as many of us, for both male and female, even different ages, different nationalities. And if you would have only the Finnish male view, it might be that it would be quite probably a very good product, but not necessarily appealing to wide audiences. We're a global company, and we try to reach quite a big audience out there. And having said that, I truly believe that diversity is something that everybody should have in their companies, and we're driving quite aggressively to get more females also in the tech industry and gaming industry. But of course, we're still a little bit of the minority. Mm. But on top of the gender issue, of course, also the nationalities and different countries or people from different countries being involved in development is important. And we have in Rovio, for example, as of today, around 30 different nationalities working for products. So I think it's in a pretty good balance. Yeah. Again, considering that we are up in north and the climate is not necessarily the one that really attracts you to Finland.
Right. I think people's perception of gaming tends to be more male-oriented, but you've been very successful in building games for women as well, and really attracting women into your games. And I think it's a big problem. Women in gaming is a real minority, and we think about underrepresented individuals. Women in gaming is clearly that. From the fact that there's only 23% of industry professionals are female, I think we need to do more to attract women into the business, because so many games are now being built for the female audience, and that's how you're going to get, a better product and better marketing campaigns and a better influence within that business. You, as a female CEO, must have faced some of these challenges or some of these perceptions. How are you reaching out and mentoring other women and enticing them back into the industry?
Right. Few words about the games first, when you said that we're building games both for female and male, and that's true. And actually, if you look at our top games as of today, there is a quite nice balance between the ones who are more targeted towards females, and actually females are playing more of them, and then the ones who are more targeted towards male. And then we have, for example, Angry Birds 2, which is a kind of a nice mixture. It kind of appeals and attracts both genders. And luckily, we have almost 30% of our employees are female, so we do have the female influence in the game development as well, which is, like I said, a great thing. Could be even more, but we're getting there at some point of time. Personally, I try to help as much as I can in different events. I tend to go and speak and promote the females and to kind of like jump into the tech world, even though they wouldn't really understand that much at that point of time. I think it's not a rocket science, and you can learn while you start doing things. And then on top of that, yes, mentoring is one way. I've been doing that internally in our company, also externally, trying to help and encourage females to maybe go a little bit beyond their comfort zone and take some new challenges as well.
Yeah, within Facebook's gaming business, literally 50% of our leaders, our managers, are women. And with yourself and with our team, hopefully we're doing is enticing more women to realize that when they see other people doing it, that they can do it as well. And I think that creates a healthier industry. So listen, we're just about out of time here. I want to thank you for coming out on stage and talking about how entertainment business and games businesses can intersect with each other and strengthen the two components. And thanks again.
Hey, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.